If, like me, you detest the BBC and all it stands for, then you'll be happy to know that the price of the television licence is going to be frozen until 2027 at the latest, and after that it's going to be scrapped. And it's high time that this happened, because the BBC, in my opinion, isn't fit for purpose, and it's taken Tory MP Secretary Nadine Dorries to do something about it. So here's what she said in her tweet. This licence fee announcement will be the last. The days of the elderly being threatened with prison sentences and bailiffs knocking on doors are over. Time now to discuss and debate new ways of funding, supporting and selling great British content. And she's absolutely right. So what do you get for that £159 a year? I'll tell you what you get. You get left-wing biased propaganda. The people who work at the BBC, especially the journalists, or the so-called journalists, they should be on the fence with everything, but they're not. They're clearly left-wing biased. For example, you will see plenty, and I mean plenty, of anti-Boris, anti-Conservative, anti-Brexit, anti-people with the wrong opinions, and anti-anything that's positively British. But when was the last time on the BBC News or any BBC channel did you see them report about the Islamic grooming gangs from up north? No, you didn't, did you? Neither did I. You see, the absence of any criminality by ethnic minorities in the BBC's reporting is quite conspicuous. During the Brexit campaign, the BBC was clearly on the side of the Ramonas and the European Union. Every time there's something about the Conservatives or Trump or Nigel Farage or anyone conservative right-thinking, then the stuff they produce to show you about them is completely always negative. So, of course, because it's the Conservative Party who are doing something about this awful television licence tax, which is what it is, it's a tax if it's mandatory, then all the usual lefty-lovey celebrities are coming out in defence of it. So here we are. The first one is handsome David Schneider. And he wrote, the BBC thing is an attempt to distract us from Partygate. Pass it on. Well, that may be, so who cares? I think the public are far more on board with not having to pay some draconian tax for a television set than who had a drink at Downing Street during lockdown. And then there's Armando Iannucci. And he said, if you really think your government can win back the public by tossing out a panicky weekend threat to the BBC, then you underestimate the level of support, admiration and respect the public has for it, he replied. Now, if Armando Iannucci, who is occasionally employed by the BBC to write woke, biased, so-called comedy shows for it, now how out of touch do you need to be to not realise that the majority of the public in the UK don't like the television licence tax? Nobody watches the BBC anymore. And I think that Armando Iannucci underestimates the disdain, disappointment and hatred that the majority of the British public have for the BBC. Nobody likes the BBC. Nobody. Apart from Twitter, and that's it. And then there's Gary Lineker. And he wrote, yes, the BBC brings you the best in news, in sport, in drama, in music, in children's, in science, in history, in entertainment, in current affairs, and Sir David Bloody Attenborough. But apart from that, what has the BBC ever done for us? Well, no, it hasn't brought us the best, because he says here it's brought us the best in sport. It hasn't. It brings us the highlights. And every year it's losing the rights for showing sporting events. And as for history, you got people like Dan Snow working there occasionally. A guy who admitted to lying to his own daughters about the existence of female Spitfire pilots during the Battle of Britain, just to make them feel good about being female. So how can you believe this guy when he tells you something about history ever again? And the guy's an ardent Ramona, by the way. You see, if you watch the BBC abroad, then they have adverts on, and those adverts are paid for. So why the hell do the British public have to pay this draconian television tax when people abroad get to watch it for free and they make revenue through adverts? If they can do it abroad, they can do it here. And of course, idiots like Gary Lineker, Armando Iannucci, and David Schwimmer and every other idiot that's come out to defend the BBC are doing it because they get a good payday thanks to the television licence payout. That's because if a private company were to take over and people like these idiots on a daily basis bring out negative publicity to the BBC because of their woke, bias and quite putrid opinions on social media, then these private companies would just get rid of them because they are bad publicity. and nobody likes them. So of course they'd rather work for a institution that doesn't give a shit about their woke opinions as long as they're woke opinions. And it's guaranteed easy money, and it's all at licence payers' expense. So I am glad this is happening, and hopefully it'll lead to the downfall of the BBC. And in closing, I'd like to show you this marvellous statement by comedian Lee Hurst that he wrote on GETTR recently. And Lee Hurst has been suspended off Twitter quite a few times because he's just another guy with the wrong opinion, and conventional comedy clubs in London won't employ him anymore because he says the wrong things. He's pro-Trump and he's pro-Brexit and he's pro-British, and they don't like that. The BBC don't like that. The so-called comedians you will see on BBC comedy panel shows don't like that. So you won't see Lee Hurst mainstream again, well, at least not on the BBC anyway. But I digress. This is his statement, and I think it's quite apt. He wrote, "The BBC and its programme content does not reflect society. It reflects the society that inhibits the BBC." And he hit the nail on the head with that one, I think. So what do you guys think? Is this the end of the BBC? Do you, like me, think it's toast and its days are numbered? Or do you think that Nadine Dorries and the Tory party will make yet another U-turn and keep the licence fee going simply because of politics? Who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like what I do, then by all means you can buy me a beer. The link is down below. Some lefties on YouTube absolutely hate it when people support my channel, even though they have comrades doing exactly the same thing. Also, don't forget you can join me on GETTR. If you don't know what GETTR is, it's like Twitter, but it supports free speech, so you can say what you want, you can upset a lefty, and there's not a thing they can do about it. And you will find other like-minded YouTubers on there also. And that's that. So comment, share, subscribe, and until my next video, Roger Trout.